I think there are many of us within the gaming space that would love to see Dead Space come back, like in a full new form, something like a proper fourth entry. Bring Isaac back, bring the classic gameplay back, something like 1 and 2. Survival horror seems to be thriving right now. We have older remake type stuff re-releasing and doing very well, with the likes of say Silent Hill 2 and along with those Resident Evil remakes. And then we're seeing new entries like with Resident Evil and especially within the indie space. Fans want this, players are buying these games, and yet it seems that there was an opportunity to start development on Dead Space 4, and that was just ignored by EA. This feels like such a missed opportunity and an extreme misuse of the property by not doing something smart with it. So Dan Allen Gaming had some of the Dead Space talent on for a podcast, and there was a part that really caused some of us fans to get very interested. So during 2024, the developers actually went to EA to pitch Dead Space 4, and EA said no. This is nuts, what a horrible and failed missed opportunity to not go along with this. You would think that something like this would be a no-brainer, an easy win. Let these creatives work their magic. They want back in. Let them back in. And let them do what they do best. But no, EA is more interested in anything other than Dead Space. What a gigantic disappointment. Here's the clip from the podcast for reference.
Today, when I told him that we were coming to talk to you, the first thing out of his mouth was like, "Please tell me you're making another Dead Space game." And I'm like, I wish. But now we're talking about the other one.
We tried, actually, the three of us.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Tried Dead Space 4.
You're kidding. Don't say that.
All three of us sat there and wanted to do it. We were
Yeah,
ready.
I mean, we're talking this year.
And what? They didn't budge.
Well, we didn't go too deep. They just said that we're not interested right now. We appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. And, we know who to talk to, so we didn't go take it any further. And we respect their opinion. They know their numbers and what they have to ship and all that. So
Yeah, the industry's in a weird place right now, too,
it's a
man.
tough time right
People
now.
are really hesitant to take chances on things. So you gotta, take it with a grain of salt. Who knows? Maybe one day. I think we'd all love to do it.
Yeah. We got some ideas.
So you would go back, you guys, in a heartbeat.
I'd make it Dead Space 4.
Yes. Brett might have trouble right now. Brett's got a good gig going. Well, you got a good gig too.
I'm not saying
No, you've all got good gigs.
I'm just saying I would make it Dead Space 4. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
There might be just a little bit of light with that EA seems to have left the door open for maybe doing something like this with Dead Space at a later point. But like you have here, you have those developers coming to you. They're hungry to make more, and it would seem that they are ready and available to make this project. Strike while the iron is hot. Make this game. This is exactly what I wanted, and less of that Dead Space remake stuff. So we kinda did get some new Dead Space-like content with the Dead Space 1 remake. I know that generally people do like this game, even look at the reception to it on Steam, but I was one of those people that did find enjoyment out of it, but I have absolutely no desire to play that game again. While I did enjoy the improvements to the visuals, and in some cases it even enhanced some of the horror, for me, a bunch of those changes outside of this overall just made a lesser version of the game from the original. First of all, the first game is a stellar experience. It never needed a remake, but even an unneeded remake can be a good one if that makes sense. But some of those key changes are always what's going to have me favoring the original over the remake. A big one being is that Isaac now talks. I get that he spoke in 2 and 3. But having that first game, it's special to have a silent protagonist there. You're isolated and on this space station trying to survive, and get off of it, hopefully. You lose some of that original feeling and atmosphere by having Isaac now talk. Plus, many of Isaac's lines are actually ones that Hammond had in the original, which again lessens Hammond's character, where he was more commanding and strong in the original game. In the remake, he's sort of a beta, a lesser version of his character. I felt like the idea of having the entire ship be interconnected was neat, but it wasn't actually really used to its full potential, and only really bloated the game where the original had pitch-perfect pacing. Like other stuff, like you returning to the hangar where it all started, significantly earlier in the game with the remake, where all this happens towards the end in the original game, operating as a great callback to the beginning, and showing how far you've come since then. That is all lost in the remake. then personally I really don't care for the uglification of all the woman characters. Both Kendra and Nicole look way worse than they did in the original. Why AAA games like making their women characters less feminine and ugly nowadays is beyond me. Plus there's some other minor bathroom stuff that just feels like a dumb current day checkbox that was done and just unneeded. I understand people were vocal about how great this remake was for them, and if you enjoyed it, good for you. For me, it's one that I will continually not revisit. But this does have me wondering in relation to the cancelled Dead Space 4. Did that have anything to do with the remake? So there was a lot of praise regarding the remake of Dead Space, but one thing I was never sure about was how it did for its sales, because at the end of the day, a game needs to sell and exceed those sales expectations. I understand that the remake dominated for that January it came out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it met those expectations. And with where we are now, if the Dead Space remake truly sold well, EA would probably have jumped at the opportunity to make another Dead Space remake, like say for the second game, or then a completely new entry. Like you had some of the original talent asking EA to make a Dead Space game. So the guys, the talent that actually made this are coming to EA, hungry to then get back into that universe. This seems like such a win opportunity, yet EA was like, nah, we're not interested. So maybe EA doesn't think that Dead Space is a property that is worth it from a financial standpoint. I don't know. And maybe part of it relates to that the remake didn't really sell as well as they wanted to. So I've been seeing some players saying that since more people did not buy the remake, this is why we are seeing Dead Space become a dead property again. I would wager I get that comment, but at the same time, I think more people would have bought this game if it was an actual new game, like a fourth game, rather than a remake of a game that never needed a remake. Surprise, surprise, EA went and did it all wrong again. What EA should have done was make a remastered set of the original trilogy, use that as a way to test the waters, and see what the population of Dead Space fans are out there, and who are interested in a new game. This way you can get cleaned up versions of the titles that we liked and loved, and as an opportunity to also fix some of the disliked elements in 3. That would seem like an easy win. Then make the fourth game. Either way, we are in a state where it seems like EA just continues to botch this franchise, and honestly, EA never really deserved this property to begin with. But all of this is still a shame, because I want more good Dead Space. So where we are right here, it's honestly just a sad state to be in for Dead Space. I understand that many thought that EA was actually looking into doing more with this franchise. They took the time to do the remake. You would think that they wanted to do more than just that with it. It's a great property. I love the original trilogy. And when looking at this, we had an opportunity where the original creators wanted to come in and make a new game. Like if I was EA, why would you not have that happen? This is some of the talent that made the magic happen in the first place. Maybe EA knows something I don't know. Either way, it's just sad that all of this happened. What are your thoughts on all of this? Did EA make a very bad move? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.